Good morning. Today we're going to talk about ageing populations and how they affect business environments globally. We have all picked four contrasting countries, which are India, China, the USA and the UK. Harrison mentioned that the definition of business environment is external factors such as political, economic, social and legal, which can influence a firm. An ageing population means when the median age of a population increases for a specific country when compared to the total population. Currently, the population within India is approximately 1.2 billion people. The table shows that the highest age group for working is 25 to 54, which is the normal working age. However, within India it is 18. On average, the life expectancy is roughly 68.3. The retirement age within India for men and women is 60 years old. The older population aged 16 over will increase by 19% within 2050. The Tata Group is an Indian global enterprise which has been able to employ people within different age groups and backgrounds. Political factors. India is considered to be one of the largest democracies in the world. The business environment can be affected by India's well-developed tax systems and can be imposed by the union government. Earnings for older people are very poor. Less than 11% of older people have pensions, which suggests that they cannot save enough and have low earnings, which can lead to an increase in poverty rates. Economic factors. The economy in India has been stable since 1991, where the industrial reform policies were introduced. Improvements have been made to the economic environment, which can include a decrease in industrial licensing and restrictions of foreign capital. Internal factors. The retirement age for both men and women is 60. This means older workers will have more experience and skills for the job role. However, employees from different firms lose them since younger workers are coming into firms with new skills and more educational opportunities. Employees. Since India is a developing country, these specific countries would have women leaving school very early to get married and have children from a young age. This can suggest that more men are working rather than women who stay at home looking after their children. The ageing population of India has been affected by their business environment. Since India is a less developing country, it can be compared to China, which is a more developing country. Richard Sussman wrote an article which explains that India's population is set to increase through 2050, whilst China is set to level out by 2035. This is because India and China's life expectancy is increasing, which can suggest their age structure for these countries will be different.
The current population of China stands at around 1.4 billion, which is roughly 18.72% of the total global population. China ranks first in the list of the world's most populated countries and has done so for several years. The median age of a Chinese individual is 37.3 years old. As you can see, illustrated in this graph, out of the four countries we've chosen to compare, China has the largest population, closely followed by India. One of China's strongest industries is the technology industry, with Lenovo being a leading company. Lenovo is a Chinese multinational technology company, often referred to as a global PC powerhouse. Founded in 1984, they now employ around 60,000 people across the globe. Technological factors. The ageing population do not have the technological knowledge or stamina to keep up with the speedy development of technology. These inflexible employees are often unwilling to learn new ways of undertaking business activities. This would impact upon China's business environment, as companies may not be able to progress or expand due to a lack of technological knowledge within their workforce. It has not only transformed workplaces, but everyday lives. Francis Cairncross stated that the development in technology marks the death of distance, as it's bringing people together around the world. Economic factors. Traditionally, the older Chinese generations have passed their wealth onto their children and grandchildren. The one-child rule has meant that older individuals now have more disposable income and they're passing less of it onto their children. This increased spending from an ageing generation has helped to boost China's GDP. Social factors. 60.3% of individuals aged over 60 have reported in a 2016 consensus that they're in good health. Expectedly, as age increases, health deteriorates, to the extent that in the same consensus, 28.7% of over 80s stated good health. That's a 31.6% difference in a 20-year age gap. An ageing population with deteriorating health can put a strain on healthcare resources for a country which is already in huge debt, doubling their public borrowing last year to 16 trillion yen for that year alone. The impact of China's ageing population is profound and significant when analysing their business environment. This demographic change has and will continue to affect every aspect of life for the Chinese, including their savings, investments, pensions, the country's economic growth, taxation and living expenses, to name a few. The demographic characteristics of China aren't too dissimilar to that of the UK. However, with economic development and social welfare lagging behind, China could easily be compared to that of a less developed country, such as India. China is renowned as being a country becoming old before it gets rich, as it focuses on achieving its age-related healthcare demands as opposed to economic development. Alternatively, the UK's economic development has been hindered but not stalled by their ever-increasing ageing population as a result of the post-war baby boom. This graph illustrates how China and the UK's demographic structures are similar, both having an increasing ageing population.
You may ask what the UK specialises in, what kind of industry it specialises in. The answer is banking and financing. The UK specialises in these two sectors. There are 2 million people within these industries. That's 7% of the population. 7% of the population is working within the finance and banking sectors, and 40,000 businesses specialise in these sectors. This making it the strongest industry in the UK, the strongest industry. For example, HSBC, which is a massive banking firm and financial institution, which is a UK-based public limited company. Due to the ageing population, there will be an increased spending on healthcare and pensions. The combination of high spending and low tax revenue could be a cause for concern for Western governments, especially those with existing debt issues and unfunded pension schemes. Tanya Jeffries wrote an article titled "Studies Showing We All Live Longer Than Expected Creates Dilemma of How to Eke Out Pension Saving." With the average age expectancy rising, pensions and other sorts of investment plans start to diminish. This is because it puts pressure on the banks and the pension companies to produce a longer payout than was originally estimated. As we know, pension money are built up to be invested through banks and the financing sectors, which is also the strongest UK industry. Currently, 55% of welfare spending, which is 114 billion, is being paid to pensioners. In a country with an ageing population, financial services will have to adapt to the needs of the older community. 1 in 3 of every person in the next 10 years can expect to reach the age of 100. This means that financial services will have to reach out to the elderly and provide them with more means to use their products and invest in some sort of way. As people start to age, there is more risk for infection. This means that elderly are less likely to leave the house. This means online financial services will have to be at all-time high to ensure them to be able to use the services properly.
Of 218.9 million, the average age is 36.8 in the United States of America. The retirement age is 63, which is only a couple years younger than the UK. However, life expectancy in the States is a couple years less. To demonstrate clearly how the ageing population affects the business environment in the USA, I have chosen to exemplify it with the most successful industry in the States, which is the health technology industry, which has nearly 22% net margin, according to Forbes. The company specific that I have chosen is Johnson & Johnson, as it's one of the top 5 medical companies. I have decided to carry out pastoral analysis to show what effect the external environment has on this industry. I have chosen 2 main factors that are likely to affect it. Firstly, economic. In 2010, those 65 and older spent about $18,000 per person on personal health care, which is about 3 times more than the average working adult. So in 2009, when there was a financial crisis, there were record levels of unemployment, and this meant that less people were utilising healthcare services. Johnson & Johnson and other health companies stepped in to provide products to help prevent illnesses occurring in the first place. Elderly people are said to have this saving/rationalising mindset due to the war, and therefore like to stock up on these products to prevent illnesses and save treatment costs. Secondly, social factors. Elderly care is very important in the United States due to the increased population of over 60s. Healthcare companies therefore try to focus their products towards this elderly market, as they will be more likely to require the products. De Francis shows the number of elderly population makes it very difficult for retirement homes and other caring facilities to function. Therefore, Johnson & Johnson are developing new devices and products to make the service much more efficient and higher of quality. I will now discuss how an aging population affects the internal environment of a business. The most relevant factors are, firstly, management. Most senior management jobs are provided to the older employees who have more experience. According to Forbes, the average age of a CEO is 45.2 years. This has decreased from 50.4 in 2001. At Johnson & Johnson, the CEO and chairman of the board is 56 years old. Heidemeyer and Staudinger mentioned that older workers have a positive attitude towards their work and therefore giving them control over their jobs and provides them with a sense of empowerment. However, they do lack in general achievement motivation once a certain age is reached. Lastly, culture. The business culture is to do with certain things like alignment of values and diversity of an organisation. In this example, the values of the management staff and research employees are very similar, and that is to help shape and define what health and well-being means in everyday lives. So, in conclusion, you are able to see how age affects each of these countries and how the various industries have changed the way they function to be able to adapt to the external environment when the population begins to age. Each industry has taken a different route to diversifying their target market to fit a variety of ages and therefore maximise sales and profits. In terms of the internal environment, these industries show how age affects certain job roles and business objectives.